Again tonight we're having our health shop here, and we're talking about this month weight loss and health. And tonight's topic is sugar versus fat. Now, we can look at things a little bit differently here, of course, as you may have already known. And for us, we're looking at health more than just the weight number. Again, a little background. I want to make sure everyone knows that we've been here now for 40 years. We'll have our anniversary party in March for the office. Been in an office for 40 years. And so a lot of information that I've been through and seen, a lot of things that we have learned that are different than what you hear on mainstream narratives. So we'll talk more about that tonight. We're going to try to use a little bit more time this year to explain how we have been basically manipulated and somewhat brainwashed into following the mainstream science. So we'll get into that later as time goes on. Tonight we'll be talking about weight loss and in health. So in our world, when patients come into our office, especially on the nutritional side, they're asking about their weight. They want to lose weight, and that's a real common thing, especially this time of year. But we look at let's get you healthy, let's get your diet healthy, and then the weight kind of falls off all by itself. You don't have to really work on the weight directly. And some people have a harder problem than others. There's reasons for that too, hormonal things, stress things, all that kind of thing going on. But that's what we're talking about this month. Now tonight's topic, sugar versus fat, what does that mean? What does it have to do with anything? Well, I'll try to explain that as we go through here. So, of course, I'm Dr. Mark, and again, been here a long time. Everybody calls me the old man around here, and that's okay. As long as I'm still alive, it's all good. So, we'll go into sugar. Of course, you've heard us, if you've been listening before, you've heard us talk about sugar a lot. It's an old broken record. We keep talking about sugar, sugar, sugar. Well, again, the reason that sugar is such a problem, when we're talking about white refined sugars here especially, is that there's no nutritional value in sugar. It's just strictly the sugar, strictly actually works as a drug in the body, and people become addicted to that. It's got a higher addiction value than cocaine, I think by 5 times or something. So anyway, it's just a problem, but we've been led down this path that we just think that that's all good. You're supposed to have sugar, you're supposed to have calories. And the mainstream will tell us that a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. And that's not true at all. Because again, you have to have it in, if you have calories in a food source that has the minerals and vitamins with it, it will work in a whole together different way than a calorie that has no nutritional value. So you might say then the calorie is the same, but the context is completely different. And that will make it work different in the body. How water is important for health. If you have too much, you'll drown. It's kind of in that type of a thing there. So, again, in our world, we get all kind of choices or ability to have all kinds of sugar, and many people are experiencing that right now as they're sick with flu or whatever because we had too much junk during the holidays. And this starts back in Halloween, of course. We have bags of Halloween candy. Then we have New Year or Thanksgiving with all the pies and cookies and junk. Then we have Christmas. Then we have New Year's. All that kind of stuff, and people have problems. And again, because refined sugar removes the nutrients from the body, and most of the time it affects the immune system first. So we used to have a demonstration that we used where we took a can of Coke and 2 Twinkies, and if you ate that in the morning, your immune system was done for the day. So if you ate that and then went out somewhere, you would catch viruses or whatever else you might be around that day because your immune system was down. Your immune system wasn't able to handle all that. And so really important to realize what's going on there. Also, let's talk about fats first, because people don't realize that fats are actually good for you. There's quite a history. If you want to get into the history of sugar, there's a couple of books out. The Sugar Blues is one. Good Fats, Bad Fats. There's really a lot of good books out there. But the cholesterol myth has been posted on to us ever since Eisenhower had his heart attacks. There's an MD that got into all this, and he decided that it was cholesterol. Cholesterol is the problem. So from then on, we've been led down this path that it's all cholesterol. It's all cholesterol. Cholesterol is the bad problem. It comes from all these saturated fats, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you look at saturated fats or fats, there's cholesterol there. But when you eat that, the body breaks that all down. Now the liver produces cholesterol, and that's what statin drugs work on, is the liver producing function that makes cholesterol. And that's why if you on statin drugs, you have to have your liver enzymes checked because you're damaging the liver all the time. But why is the body making that cholesterol? That question is never asked by the mainstream medical people. It's just, let's just get that number down. Now, to understand that all your nerve fibers are encapsulated by a myelin sheath, which is cholesterol. Your brain is 68% weight, well, 68% cholesterol by weight, because again, that's the insulators for the brain tissue. So people that have a very low cholesterol will have dementia, Alzheimer's, a lot of these neurologic brain disorders because they're not getting cholesterol to the right places. Yes, I will agree that people that have heart attacks and strokes can have a piece of plaque broken off that is made of cholesterol. The thing is, you're not looking at, and they're not understanding, is the reason why that is there is because of too much sugar over a long time. The insulin has spiked, very high levels of insulin that breaks down the blood vessels, and the body plugs up those blood vessel holes from all this trauma with cholesterol. When it's there long enough and it keeps bleeding, the body will put fibrin clots around that cholesterol, and that's what plaque is. And so then if you have a damage or whatever, the plaque breaks loose and you have a heart attack or a stroke or embolism in the lungs. So that's coming though from the underlying problem is the sugar. Cholesterol is not the cause, cholesterol is the result. The plaquing is the result. So we got to get back, and that's why I wanted to kind of dive into some of these issues a little deeper this year, get people to understand they have to back out of this rabbit hole that they've been down into so long in mainstream medicine, back out and start to look at what actually is the reason why these problems are here. We don't want to just treat it forever and ever and ever with statin drugs and high blood pressure medication. That's just treatment. We want to look at the cause. Let's get rid of the cause and get off of all this medication. You do realize that the United States of America is one of the worst countries when it comes to health. We have the most money spent per capita. We have the highest levels of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity in this country compared to any other country. And that's why we're having a lot of problems with this COVID business right now, because Americans' immune systems are just not very good. So anyway, if people will get rid of the sugar and eat good fats, they help themselves immensely. But that's going to take a lot of understanding. Now the problem that we have had too in the past, since people were told to get off of these good fats, we've been getting into a lot of bad fats. All of your seed oils and vegetable oils, and like Crisco and margarine, those things cause all kind of problems in the body. They're just as bad as sugar, but in a different way in the body. And so it's important to realize that those things were never meant to be food, just like refined sugar. It was never really meant to ever be in the diet as a food or used as in the body. They're not meant for that. Our bodies don't run on it. It's like putting diesel fuel in a gas car. It's not going to work very good. So some things we have to look at. We have to look at good sources of good fats, get away from all the bad fats, and look at getting rid of all the refined products in the diet. Not only refined sugar, but refined flours are just as bad. Another part of things we look at here. So it's important to realize what these foods do to the body. Again, we're hearing a lot of stuff now about, how meat's so bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, meat's always been good for the body. Some people have a hard time digesting meats, but these good fats help the body to learn how to burn good fats. And then these good fats become a good energy source for the body. And guess what will happen if you eat good fats instead of refined sugar? You'll lose weight and get healthier. That's what the ketogenic diet's all about. You don't have to go all the way to ketosis and everything else, and it goes that far if you don't want to. And we help patients with that all the time. But if you go into a ketogenic diet, that's what you're doing. You're getting rid of all the refined sugar, and you're getting into more good sources of fats. Now, we get a lot of people that come in here who kind of look towards vegetarianism and vegan stuff as a health thing. And the thing to realize is that vegetarian vegan is very healthy for a short time. It's a very good detox diet, and it really helps. We get most of our patients start with this, so we try to work them onto a lot of vegetables, a lot of things kind of working into a vegetarian type thing, and meat if they can digest it. If they can't digest it, they have to work toward getting that body cleaned out first. So vegetarian diet is very good for a short time, but it lends to several big nutritional deficiencies, because the body needs essential fatty acids and essential amino acids that really only come from meats. You can get it from vegetables, but you really got to know what you're doing. And most people that do vegetarian or vegan, especially diets, are really deficient in a lot of minerals these amino acids and fatty acids over time. So they have all kind of problems. So anyway, we're looking at these fats versus sugars. The point there is sugar is refined sugar, again especially, a very poor source of energy for the body, causes all kind of trouble, where your good fats are a very good source of energy for the body. But we have to relearn this. It's been brainwashed into us for years and decades now, and we have to get out of that rabbit hole of the mainstream narrative and look at what actually makes the body healthy, not what drives drug company profits. You have to look at what's behind all this in there. So anyway, that's pretty good stuff. Again, we're looking at losing weight, but in our world, that comes from being healthy. And so that's what we're looking at here. We have these old people that are, they're happy. They're holding hands. They're doing their walk every day. They're not in wheelchairs. They're not rolling down Walmart lanes in an electric wheelchair, that kind of stuff. They're out enjoying life. They were wearing backpacks, for goodness sake, carrying that weight. And people come in here, and a lot of that's another kind of a brainwashing issue for me, is that people have been told that as they get old, they're just going to fall apart, and you're going to have to be on all this medication and all this stuff. Well, that's not the way it has to be. But you have to learn to fix the body the way it's meant to be, or work with the body so it can fix itself, is really a better way of putting it. That's what we do in Natural Health. We'll do is remove the barriers to health, and then get people to understand what it takes to be actually healthy, to build their body and strengthen itself. So just working with the body. So we work with the body, but medications and things like that work actually against the body and controlling symptoms. Now again, I'm not totally against medication. If you're having a heart attack, by all means, you got to do something. If your blood pressure is way high, then you got to control it. But get to the reason why it's there. Figure out the reason, which is what we do, and then the body can be healthy. And even with the chiropractic work we're doing, many people think that chiropractic is just for back and neck pain. Well, no, chiropractic was around long before that thought happened. That's really an insurance issue more than anything. Chiropractic was used for all conditions years ago. But we've been kind of brainwashed into this, or pigeonholed into this insurance thing of neck and back pain. So, but these type of things, these more holistic, organic type of approaches to healing the body are what we really need in this country to be healthy. And we're really seeing the effects of that with this lately pandemic or pandemic business. So anyway, I've probably caused enough trouble by now, and hopefully we'll get thrown off of YouTube. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chip, let him have some fun here, so Dr. Chip can take it away, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, great. Yes, thank you, Dr. Mark. So again, a lot of good information. I'm not sure how much I can kind of go over that too, because he already, talked a lot about all the stuff that we need to talk about. But I will do my best to kind of put my input there too, and we'll go from there. So again, I'm Dr. Chip, and we'll continue to talk with sugar and versus fat. So again, like Dr. Mark explained, a lot of the different sugars, different things from Halloween, Thanksgiving. We'll go into probably Valentine's Day here pretty soon. So we know that sugar is this kind of a big thing in people's lives. Many times when we get really indulged into it, we get kind of more, you would say, addicted to it. But it's more of that, it gets that dopamine release. It helps to have that pleasure where, again, not really necessarily being happy for it, but more of that pleasure spike. So again, very easy to get kind of caught into it. And then as we kind of eat a little bit, we get more and more into it. And then, of course, that causes issues. But these cookies or more things that are more processed, you can see is that you don't find these in nature. It's man-made. And so again, you got to be careful, or you got to actually look into that being a substitute. So again, sugar is not the enemy, it's not evil by any means, but you have to know, again, what you're putting into your body in that sense. And so again, we have cookies here, but then we also have bowls of fruit. Now, fruit again is found in nature. It's a whole food, and it's got all the minerals and vitamins with the sugar. So again, that means that the body, or our bodies, know exactly what's going on to help us digest and assimilate those foods. So again, minerals and vitamins, we tend to think of that as different little things that we need throughout our lives, but really those vitamins and minerals are actually good transmitters or transporters for different nutrients in our body. And they also tell the brain exactly kind of what to do to help transfer those nutrients to different parts of the body. And so again, fructose, again, is found in fruit, and that's more for your liver. Glucose, again, that's kind of more in these guys here. But again, there is a little amount of glucose and fructose in those. Again, glucose and fructose being different forms of sugar. Again, the reason why I bring that up there too is that a lot of times we think that we need to have so much glucose or fructose to get our stores back into place. But really, fructose is more, you would say, digested or processed in the liver, and you can only get so much. The liver really is very delicate to where it needs to be able to make a good balance there. And so if the liver wasn't able to balance that correctly, then we would have these spikes where we would crash immediately, kind of following a big sugar meal or anything like that too. Now glucose, again, that's more of getting back into the muscles. So like if you have a big strenuous lifting or working out or run, all that, that's where glucose comes in. It's actually building up those stores in your tissues and cells, in your muscles too. But again, we forget that our body is intelligent. It's very smart at what it does, and it can adapt to a lot of different things. So again, what we forget to mention is what fat does for our bodies and for ourselves. So again, when we get too much fruit, or not fruit, but too much sugar in our diets, the body knows what to do in order to keep our blood sugars at bay. Now, if we get too much sugar, you would say, then the body will make sure it goes to the fat cells. It actually creates fat cells and deposits it into the tissue so that the blood sugar doesn't spike too far. Because if we were not able to regulate these big loads of sugar like this, then we would actually go into we would pass out or go maybe into a coma. And so again, our body is very smart and knows what to do. Now, fats, on the other hand, these food sources do not spike our blood sugar so much. And so again, it's more of a stable, calm energy. Again, you have coconuts here. This is more coconut oil. It's more of a good fat. Here's olive oil. Again, a good fat there too. More found on your, again, salads, all that too. And then eggs. Now, a funny thing about eggs is that we have been told back and forth so many times what is the right thing. And so they told us that, the yolk is bad, so we should just do the egg whites. They've told us that the egg whites are bad way back when, so we should only do the egg yolks. But guys, the egg is a whole food. And so really we should be more saying that this is a complete protein, a complete food, and that the protein is found with the yolk, of course. And so again, just like taking the sugar out of food context, again, that's kind of what we're doing, is we're trying to rip apart the whole foods there too. So again, they're both good, and again, there's different properties that you should be cooking them in certain ways, but again, neither are bad. They're just good foods for us. So again, protein, fat, again, good combination there too. Again, a big thing too with fats, I'm trying to get not lost in here, but a big thing with fats, of course, too, is that we're able to use that energy more efficiently. Now, again, the glucose or sugars, there's an aftermath of that. If we're always burning up sugars all the time, if we're always using them, then we cause these, you would say, free radicals or different particles that cause our bodies to need to repair itself. Now, fats, on the other hand, they don't have that kind of process, or that not damage but repercussions there. And so fats are very efficiently utilized in our bodies, and so that it can actually use that energy right away. Now, of course, too, is that, Dr. Mark explained about the ketogenic diet there too, but if we are always accustomed to using sugar all the time, then our body is kind of craving or wanting that energy source, because that is that quick hit. The fat, on the other hand, is not that quick hit, because our body has to actually go from a sugar burning cycle to an energy burning cycle. And so it doesn't do that necessarily right away. It has to actually have the sugar be depleted, in a sense, to where then the fat can be used. And again, that's the metabolism part too, is that if we're not able to be metabolically efficient, then we can't go back and forth like that. So say that somebody's been eating sugary foods for so long, sugary meals and all that, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks included, all that, your body is used to kind of riding the wave of the sugar thing. So that means, that's why when you don't have food for a while, your blood sugar levels go down, and you get hungry, you get irritated, you get frustrated, you start having these little things going on. It's because your body is actually trying to metabolically switch to the fat burning mode. So really, it's more important to help your body to go back and forth with those different cycles there too. And just like nature, just like the seasons, we didn't have fruit all the time. We didn't necessarily have these foods all the time for us. Now we have markets and shops and grocery stores and all that. So again, it's kind of different, but we weren't always used to doing that. And so again, our body was always trying to flex between the sugars and the fats there. But nowadays we are kind of overloaded with these higher sugary foods, which again, it's not really the natural part of the cycle there too. So again, that is a lot of information there too. I hope you kind of learn more there too. Now, what I always make sure to do too is that our nervous system is always kind of dictating how we are able to process information in our environment and then digest our foods. And so again, when our nervous system is balanced, then we know then it can actually do the things it needs to at the certain times. So again, when we are ramped up, when we're let's say worried about something or agitated about something, or we can't get our minds off a certain thing that happened, we become kind of more in this sympathetic state, kind of more this fight or flight state. And that's hard for our bodies to process and digest things naturally. Why I put thanks here is that gratitude or thanks giving or anything like that, it actually, when we actually practice this feeling or this thought process there too, it helps to regulate our nervous system so that we're able to digest those foods properly. And so again, that's kind of more of your, again, Thanksgiving, people pray before meals, all that. It's really helping your body to get back to that normal level so that we're not in that fight or flight mode. So again, thanks is kind of more for giving gratitude before meals, but also thanks for watching. And I think that's it for us. And again, just being able to enjoy your food and everything with your relatives, with your family, your friends, again, and that your food is your fuel. Don't forget that either, is that we tend to kind of get caught up into the whole being pleasurable foods and all that too, but we do tend to forget that the food is our fuel for our bodies there too. So it's good to respect what we eat and what we put into our bodies. So that is it for tonight. Again, you can always go to our website at naturalhealthquincy.com. You can follow us at naturalhealthquincyIL on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram for more information. You can always subscribe to our email list. We always give out good information that way too. And the location at Natural Health is 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois. The number is 217-228-2040. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you gained some information or gained some valuable insight. Again, like Dr. Mark explained there too, is that there's always two sides of the coin, and of course, the other system has been, or again, we always get kind of a lot of information at once. And a lot of times too is that if we're not reasoning out this different information, then we can get misguided. But we've been doing this for quite a while. Again, Dr. Mark's been doing it for 35 plus years, so he kind of knows kind of what's going on there too. And again, when you get results with people, when you figure out more information, and again, just kind of using common sense, you can kind of see the veil kind of behind the curtains there. So again, thanks you for watching, and that'll be it for tonight. Thanks.
Mhm.